Okay, sorry, but
unreal.
we started talking during the intro there about
No. Just start
Okay.
the show, and if you still
Yeah,
want to talk
I
about
do.
it after the intro is done, then we know it was meant to be.
Okay. My name is Keith J. Carberry. I'm here with Kylie Theodora. We are doing Snooze Button in person for the first time. It is July 12th.
Wait,
13th.
Keith,
Yeah.
you didn't play the intro music.
Yes, I did.
Oh, wait, what?
Did you not hear it?
No.
Oh. Hear that?
I might not hear anything.
Turn the slider all the way up.
All the way up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it says min, but the min is on the bottom.
Yeah.
I thought it was saying this is min.
So it was partially your fault for having the volume slider all the way down when I handed it to you all the way up. But then the other half of it was that your headphone slider was all the way down over here.
I still don't. Should I hear something?
Yeah, you should hear you talking. Well, now
No.
you shouldn't.
Test.
You're not hearing anything?
It's fine. Anyways, welcome to Snooze Button. Everything's good technically, and we're all here.
You're really not hearing yourself.
I'm really not hearing anything.
Give me those. I just was using them and they were just working. So.
We're gonna restart the show after this.
Are we?
This is not the beginning of the show.
Okay. Well, here, take them back. Sorry.
Put them on your ears.
Is it maybe here?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is it? Oh, I was thinking, is that thing not plugged in or something?
It is plugged in.
I guess it is.
Worked?
Yeah, now it works.
Well, for some reason oh, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm so stupid.
Yeah, you are.
I had it
I'm
plugged
always
into
saying
the
this.
third thing, and it's the third headphone port is all the way down. I thought you were in the second one, so I
Wow,
was
you
just in the second one.
fucking nerd.
No tech problems, just brain problems.
All right, let's restart.
Okay. Hi, everybody. It is July 13th. I am Keith J. Carberry, and with me, as always, is Kylie Theodora for the first ever, actually not with me as always, with me as very, very rarely recently, because this is the first ever in-person Snooze Button. They've all been, this was a pandemic conception.
Hi, I was introduced somewhere in there.
You were. This is a pandemic conception. We've never done
Yeah.
it in person. We're doing it in person.
And
Now.
you can go to pandemicconception.com for all of our pandemic lifestyle brand paraphernalia, masks. We've got a hoodie with a mask built into the front of it. If you just always want to have your face covered, it's got a hood for your mouth and for your head. It's a double hoodie.
How do I raise this?
The big chonky knob,
Okay.
and then you loosen it and then pull it up. Yeah, I was thinking the other way.
It was not. I was loosening it a lot, and it wasn't loosening, and I just think it's because I had it too tight. That's a little bit too much.
Well, here we are. It's a Tuesday. It's not the morning.
It's not the morning. Someone already said that we snoozed late. It's because we're in person. Kylie had to come from Boston.
I didn't snooze late. I could have been here at 11. I was requested to be here at 1:30.
I was asleep at 11 still. I knew, and we'll never know, and this is the curse of being right.
Wow.
Is that you'll never know. You'll never be able to prove that if people didn't listen to you, it would have gone bad. It's the curse of being right. It's a heavy burden to bear. But I knew that I would be too tired to do all the recording that we have to do today. I could have gotten up at 11 and done it at 11, but I was like, if we're going to do Shenmue and Silent Hill and maybe Digimon later, then I need us to start later. So, you bugged the shit out of me a second ago by showing me how people on TikTok talking to their microphones.
I already couldn't remember what the thing was that we were talking about before we started the show.
Kylie held up the inline mic and like talked into it like how they do on TikTok. What are you doing?
You know what's so mad? You know what makes me extra mad about those videos? First of all, it's always the tech people. It's always people giving you like, here's a thing you didn't know your iPhone could do, and they're speaking directly into their.
I don't get those videos. I think that we get different kinds of videos.
I don't go on TikTok anymore, thank God. But maybe I'm just thinking of like one specific guy who's like, it's like one of those TikTok things where he's like, I'm going to tell you 3 things you had no idea that you could do with your iPhone, and I'm like, yeah, try me, bro.
You could record your screen.
No,
it's like, there's a big button for it in the drop down.
But then he like legitimately tells me 3 things I didn't know, and it's like, really? Dude, why do you know so much about phones, but you don't know how to record your voice without using headphones? The other thing that drives me nuts is these people talking into their fucking headphones. A lot of times it sounds really good, and I'm like, no one's ever gotten this audio quality from an inline headphone mic. Like, what's happening? Is it fake? They're faking. They gotta. They've got a Rode mic in the background with a super high gain, and they're pretending it's their inline. Oh, Keith is staring at the mixer. He thinks I'm too loud.
It's not that you're too loud. It's just that I'm not used to something, which is you are getting picked up on my mic.
Yeah, that happens.
And it is because I have a noise gate on. When you get a little bit loud, it jumps up in my headphones. And it's just, I think it's just a problem for my headphones, but I'm slightly worried. I sort of feel like I should turn both of us down.
Oh.
I think we should turn both of us down.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. If you're gonna be on TikTok, I don't know.
I guess don't learn how to use your mic.
I literally can't give anyone advice about TikTok because that's.
Well, okay. So the other reason that this bugged me, there's a specific thing. I was actually surprised when you brought up like tech people doing this, because the venue that I have seen it is it'll be 2 people doing what looks like a podcast.
Oh?
Yeah, and so it'll be 2 people with inline mics held up next to their mouths doing a podcast, and I'm like, number 1, what are you doing with the microphone? Number 2, who are you and why are you doing 2 minutes of a podcast on TikTok? And number 3, why does this have 1.8 million likes? And 4, who are you? Who are you? And it's the same thing. It is now turned into a genre, as far as I can tell, where it's like they just ask hypotheticals, because that's how you get 2 minutes worth of what seems like a podcast on TikTok. Is you go like, so what do you think about this hypothetical question?
They're doing Quibbies instead of recording.
They're doing It's Quibi podcasts.
Instead of doing a full podcast, they're just doing micro topic by micro topic and recording a TikTok for each one. I'm sorry, a Quibi. They're Quibbying a TikTok for each one.
They're Quibbying a TikTok. Yeah.
God, I would love
TikToking a Quibi.
I would love nothing more than for Quibi to stay dead and to have died the quick and painful death that it did, but for it to never leave the public consciousness and perhaps even become a verb.
And people remember Quibi for the rest of time. Mm-hmm. A curse.
I thought,
you've heard of the curse of Quibi.
Oh, of course. Which is that like. If you're gonna market an entertainment app towards young people, you should probably make sure you asked some young people what they'd like out of an entertainment app.
Was it marketed to young people?
Yeah, because they're like,
was it marketed to teens or was it marketed to like 30-year-olds?
Like 20s, like the 18 to 34 demographic.
Okay, but that's a fake demographic.
But that's what Quibi was targeting.
Right.
I'm not here to discuss that.
I guess it's hard.
This was
I don't know. I just feel like a 34-year-old is so different than an 18-year-old.
Yeah,
that to put them in the same category is bizarre to me.
Yeah, but whatever.
18 to 24, 25
but
to 34.
I mean, yeah, like their thing was like, we're gonna do peak television, but it's gonna be peak television you watch in 4-minute bursts because you're a busy
little bee.
You're a busy millennial. You're a busy younger millennial or elder Zoomer. Whatever.
I hate that.
I know.
Nothing makes it more obvious to me how fake generations are than the sort of generational divide between millennials and Gen Z.
Yeah.
So, okay. I feel like no matter your conception of where the split is, I'm a millennial. It's obvious that that's true.
Well, that's where you and I are dead center in the age range for millennials. So, like, a few years either direction, we're still millennials.
Right.
We are the true millennials. The uber millennials.
You are more. Obviously, I'm a little bit less in the middle than you.
Yeah.
If I was 2 years younger, it would be obvious that I was on the cusp.
It depends. Because we talked about this. There's no real.
I don't know that we.
There's no real year range for like when someone is a millennial. So depending on who you ask, either I'm in the middle, that's what I say, or you're in the middle, which I think is what most people say, but I just disagree with
totally
them,
wrong.
and I'm dying on this hill.
I feel. So here's the thing. So I feel like literally every week, I'm seeing some sort of like millennial versus Gen Z thing that people try to make. There's 3 groups of people trying to make this happen.
Do you mean versus like two
culture war,
like 2 pictures, or just
like a culture war? Like like Gen Z trying to bully millennials for being lame and millennials being like, no, you're lame, and media outlets taking this and writing full news stories somehow about it. And it's just like, I just want to be like, all of the stuff, like if you're a teenager and you're making fun of millennials for whatever stupid thing, I just want to tell you now that stuff sucked like 10 years ago too. Like all that stuff, that was lame all the time. Like it was never cool to be 24 years old and talk about Hogwarts houses. It's still lame now. And on the flip side, a lot of your shit's lame too. It's just like a lot of culture sucks no matter how old you are.
I have 2 things about this.
Yeah.
And one of them's maybe for you. One of it's like, ooh, Keith's putting a message out for the Zoomers out there listening, and I'm putting a message out there for my co-host, which is just that different ages of people disagree on things. That's just how humans work. Like there will always be there will always be young people pointing at older people and being like, you're old and out of touch, and there will be old people pointing at young people being like, you're a bunch of annoying idiots. And they're both right.
But okay, but this is I think that because I believe that millennial.
I think the internet has supercharged, a lot of stuff. But one of the things that is supercharged is just, I don't know, like the speed at which like our like the speed at which cultural changes occur now is like so fast that like no like Zoomers and millennials like whatever, it's stupid to even try to draw a line between them, but I would maybe agree there's maybe more distinction between those two groups than say two groups that had the same age difference 100 years ago or even 50 years ago. Does that make sense? Did I express a complete thought?
So okay, you did express a complete thought, but I disagree because I think that internet culture is internet culture, and it's actually homogenizing and not heterogenizing.
Ooh, heterogenizing.
Yeah, nailed it.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is part of the like.
Yeah.
The lines across which this fake culture war is being fought. First of all, I do think it is mainly being fed by like weird like opinion pieces in online journals.
Yeah, I think there's that. I think there's also the fact that I don't know if you feel this way. I really feel like in the last year people were just all cooped up and just squabbling about nonsense so much more than they were that I just think people are just squabbling about stuff more now. Everyone's squabbling.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. I mean, maybe this has always been true, but it just feels like it just feels like I don't know, like all of the other generational conflicts that I can think of is like boomers were hippies and they turned themselves into cops, and Gen X being like, you guys sold out, and then millennials looking at Gen X and being like, you told them that they sold out and you were all mad, but then you guys didn't do anything. And then now it's like millennials wear skinny jeans and they part their hair different than us. Fuck you. You guys all remember the most popular book series of all time for a long time, and we like a different, newer, most popular book series of all time. Fuck you.
That's what I'm saying. That's just young people shit. That's just what young people do. Not us, not you and I specifically necessarily.
Okay.
But people our age did the same thing 10 years ago. It's just that
I didn't do this though. I didn't do that.
Like, that's what I said. I'm not saying us specifically, but like people our age. It's just a thing where like there's always a period of time where all of the discourse about a particular age range of person is coming from not those people because they're children and they have no voice. And now like Gen Z, like pretty much the entire generation Gen Z is like 18 or older now. And so they're just starting to exist in the adult world and they have voices and they say stuff and we have to listen to it and it's fucking garbage.
But I want to emphasize the part of this where I pretty much don't actually think that this is happening, except it's weird. I don't think that this is an actual conflict that exists in the world.
Yeah.
It's just something that's online.
Yeah.
But it also it's also a significantly milder conflict because the way that the internet works is that like Gen Z culture and millennial culture are essentially the exact same thing, except for that Gen Z grew up watching like Disney Channel when like it was like the height of Disney Channel. And so they all like the Disney Channel shows like a bunch of fucking idiots.
This is my perspective on millennials versus Gen Z. But before I say it, I'm just going to acknowledge this is everyone's perspective on the generation that follows theirs, which is like I feel like millennials invented all this shit out of nothing, and then Zoomers all just stole it all and pretended it was their idea.
Well, yeah, but
did it way more.
But the thing is, that's always how it's going to happen because it's always going to be the generation that precedes you that is creating stuff while you're a child.
Yeah,
and then you grew up being like, fucking millennials could never like this shit. It's like millennials did that, and then they will then go on to create TV shows and write books that the next generation will like, and then they'll grow up. But so that part of it is true, and it is also like not a problem. It is just the way of the world that you create art for people that are younger than you.
Right.
I think you're right.
And, and I'm also thinking about how, like, the certain, the same thing where it's like it's like the gamers.
But this is why I see so I'm actually surprised that I see this all the time. Like, there is, out of nowhere, the millennials are obsessed with Harry Potter thing started showing back up, and I'm like, I don't know anybody.
They fucking are. What are you talking about? Millennials won't shut the fuck up about Hogwarts. I wish they would.
But I've seen so much less of that since J.K. Rowling became increasingly more publicly insane.
I guess I have, but not enough less to satisfy
Okay,
me.
I've seen an almost total collapse of Harry Potter being talked. The only people I see talking about Harry Potter are Gen Z talking about how millennials are obsessed with it.
I think you just have an extremely curated Twitter feed.
I do have a small Twitter feed. That's true. How many people do you follow?
Too many. That's why I stopped. I mean, like 600. I don't know.
Okay, I only follow I follow like 450. It's not like nothing.
What was I gonna say? Oh, another thing is,
I will grant you that millennials are still talking about Hogwarts. I just haven't seen it.
Classic generational thing, like the thing where you go like, it was cool when we did it, but your generation took it too far. Was like, hey, listen, when my generation was like, when like the anime wave was happening, that was really cool. We were all discovering anime and it was rad. Now you people just live in anime. You just think you are anime characters, and it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I guess like when I was young, I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if everyone liked anime? And now I'm looking at Gen Z and I'm like, oh, it would not be cool. It wouldn't be cool.
You keep interrupting me before I can finish my point, though. So stop.
Okay.
The point about the Hogwarts thing is that the only thing that you can do is have disagreements about TV shows where, like, I think all those Disney Channel shows that all those little kids thought are so good. I look at them and I'm like, those are the worst shows of all time.
Yeah, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody can get fucked.
There's worse shows than that.
The shit life of Zack and Cody.
It's really the Disney Channel shows, especially, though. Those are the ones.
You're thinking of Ant Farm.
I'm thinking of
Ant Farm.
No,
I know, but I this is like a Run Button thing. Was just I've seen a lot of Disney Channel in the past few years. Mostly when like Lucas was watching a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I did find that I didn't have a huge problem with any of it, but I saw like one episode of this show called Ant Farm, which was like canceled immediately after I saw it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, this is the worst thing. It had that character you talked about hating, the archetype of just like impossibly stupid person.
Right, the character that if they were real, they would be dead. They're too dumb to live. Yeah. And when it's done right, it's fine. I mean, it's just so rare to be done right. I mean, it goes hand in hand with the character that everyone in the show finds annoying, but you're supposed to find funny, but actually they're just annoying.
You know what? I can't believe I've never.
We have to go back because you did actually interrupt me again.
I know I did. I'm sorry.
The reason that it's got to be about like media that children consume.
It's got to be about. What are we talking about? What has to be about that?
Millennials and Gen Z arguing about that the fake culture war between two people that are the same kind of person.
All they
actually
know are cartoons and TV shows.
No,
they haven't done anything.
Let me
else.
fucking finish it. Jesus Christ, we're trying to make this point for 5 minutes. It's because all the rest of their culture is the same. The only argument they have is about what was on TV when they were 7, because every other part of their culture is the same. It's the same culture.
Yeah, sure.
There's so little divergence because they all just spend all day online.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Especially in the last year, where it's like all I have to do is make fun of make fun of a different. I need to find a group of people that it's okay for me to make fun of, and it's either the generation that precedes me or post-seeds me. But the only difference between us is that I watch Nickelodeon and they watch Disney Channel.
Proceeds and precedes.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Fucking millennials are wasting all their time watching Nickelodeon.
Right.
And we
were cool. We watched Cartoon Network.
One thing, of all this recent Disney Channel watching in the last 5 to 10 years, it's just actually a shame I've never brought this up on Run Button online and had any fun with this at all. But my favorite Disney Channel show was called Austin and Ally.
Disney Channel was always bad, wasn't it?
No, because one night they.
There was one night they had one good night.
No, this is how you know that this is real. The thing I'm about to say is 100% true. They had a night where they, where like after all the kids went to bed, they played a bunch of Disney Channel shows from when we were kids, and they were all great. So.
But you did just say Austin and Ally, and I remember that show, and I remember being 8 and being like, this show's bad.
Oh no, Austin and Ally was not on when you were 8.
But it was on the TV.
No.
No?
No.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know.
I think of Ally and AJ.
Possibly.
Was that on when I was 8? Is that a Disney Channel thing?
I don't know. I wasn't watching Disney Channel when you were 8.
You would have been 10.
But,
when I was 8, you had a 7-year-old little sister.
I mean, I only know the term Ally and AJ as a Disney show I've never seen. So
okay, so then it was Disney. Okay.
I
guess what I'm saying was, I guess I was watching these Disney Channel shows as a kid and still being like, these are bad.
They even put on an episode of Even Stevens on that night of old shows, and I was like, here we go with the Shia LaBeouf thing. Yeah. And I was watching it, and I was like, honestly, this role was made for him. He's fucking destroying this. This is the most I've ever been entertained by Shia LaBeouf.
I think he's in big trouble this month.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he just got extremely serious sounding sexual assault allegations.
Jeez. Wow, I can't say I'm shocked.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. I found this out because I was talking about how despite having like 2 years where everything he did was the most unlikable thing, everyone somehow like really likes him all of a sudden, despite not having done anything to fix his reputation. People just are like, yeah, he just seems nice and his clothes are good and he's fun. And then I was like, didn't he just get accused of some pretty serious stuff? And I looked it up. I was like, oh, yep, sure did. Like 3 days ago. This was a couple weeks ago, so it's been a few weeks. But yeah. So the Shia LaBeouf rehabilitation project is dead.
Uh-oh,
I think
it's hit a snag.
Yeah.
My last thing I wanted to say about
how wet the table is.
I know I've been studying this table since we've begun. It's just a web of drink rings.
Like you keep picking up your drink and be like, oh, it's wet under there. Better put it somewhere new.
Yeah,
and then you pick it up and like, oh, it's wet under there. Better put it somewhere new.
Real. I'm like, well, you put it back on the ring. The ring's never gonna dry.
And now you have a table that is also a kiddie pool.
These rings are drying up, and these rings over here are a little more wet. We'll just give them some time. Listen, I'm not the one who doesn't have coasters.
I don't usually drink over there. I actually do.
This is a plastic table, by the way. This is a garbage ass TV tray with a plastic
I actually do
top.
have coasters.
No, honestly, I'm looking at those. They look like leather or something.
Yeah.
These will be ruined by this water. I don't want to put my drink on those.
No, they're meant to be. They're meant to be patinaed.
But they look nicer than the table. All right, just give me. Well, my drink.
You don't need it now. I mean, here.
I do need it now. There we go.
I have literally 4 coasters in this room. Trying to make fun of me for not having coasters. You want to talk about computers and keyboards.
I do want to talk about computers. My last thing that I just wanted to say about the generational war thing was you were talking about like, the people keep writing these stupid think piece articles about culture wars.
Yeah.
And I do think, I mean, obviously it's the internet. People are just always looking for the stupidest bullshit to write about.
Yeah.
And they're bored with the millennial boomer war. That's kind of in a lull, so they need a new war.
Well, and that's a productive war.
Right.
It's a productive war because actually boomers and Gen X are terrible and they're bankers and they're landlords.
There could actually be something to say about that.
Millennials and Gen Z are the the perpetual they're the generational class victims of capital. They're like the first. Let me finish my sentences.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I was echoing.
Okay. The first I guess I'll lose the first. It is the It seems like the first time where like a generation of people are, on the whole, not being subsumed into the middle class to perpetuate.
Oh, you don't think that's our generation?
Yeah, that's what I said. Millennials.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Gen Z.
I was talking about it as a conglomerate.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Oh, you mean the Zillennial generation?
Yeah, the Zillennial generation.
Nailed it. That's what it is.
The Millennial Z.
That sounds like a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Yeah. They'll like that. That was a...
Those fucking Zoom-ass babies will fucking love that Yu-Gi-Oh crap.
Yeah. So, you know, and I think that's why we're heading into an extremely dangerous political time, because you've got the form. So you've got, okay.
By the way, you did interrupt me for this one.
Okay, what's up?
Oh, I was just gonna say, this is what the new kids are doing and saying, and this is what kids these days think about adults these days. That's a perennial article topic. No one will ever stop writing that news article. Right. Ever, ever, ever.
Ever. Well, until all news goes out of business.
Well, I mean, that already happened. It's just online now.
Okay. So you've got kings and queens, and then you've got you've got the bourgeois, who as a class are both they have Keith, when you have a capitalist bourgeois revolution to take out monarchy, you've got the class oppression by the ruling class against the bourgeois, and the bourgeois who have the means and opportunity to sustain a revolution against them, which then is successful. We know that because that's what we're in now. And then you've got the new ruling class, whose role in the last century has been to subsume the majority of the working class into an upper working class, which we call the middle class,
right,
that instead of being activated as a working class against capital, is activated as a landowning class against
the
lower working class. Yeah. And that is not happening anymore. And so and this is the new phase of capital that we are on the precipice of.
Not happening as much. There's some millennials out there.
Sure, but then
totally doing it.
Right, but then now this is where Gen Z comes in.
Right, exactly.
And why
comes in with the steel chair.
And why there needs to be a Gen Z millennial conglomerate that
Zillennials.
The Zillennial class. The Zillennial generation.
This is our new cause. Everyone, lay down your generational arms and take up the Zillennial flag. Everyone change your last name to Zillennial to show that you truly believe.
Everyone change your last name to I am Keith Zillennial. Let me be the first.
Yes, first of his name.
Anyway, that's why it seems stupid when millennials and Gen Z fight. Their culture is the exact same, and all of the Gen X people are bankers and real estate agents and landlords. So what the fuck are you doing?
But I will say, I haven't seen any of this Gen Z fueled anti Harry Potter stuff.
Okay, yeah, I see it all the time.
But I will say, well, you know what? Maybe I was gonna say they're right. Millennials need to shut up about Harry Potter, and that's still true. I will say, I mean, Harry Potter, it slapped. What are you gonna? If you were our age, you'd love that shit too. Shut up. Go summon a Red Eyes Black Dragon, you fucking baby.
When I was five,
that's way too old of a Yu-Gi-Oh card for. That's a millennial.
Yeah, that's a millennial
Yu-Gi-Oh
card. Yeah.
Go ride a motorcycle.
When I was 5, Harry Potter came out. I was 6 actually. When I was 6, Harry Potter When I was 5, Harry Potter came out. When I was 6, it was published in America. And it was like the first book that I read that was longer than a Magic Treehouse book, which if you don't know, Magic Treehouse are like 100-page novels for 3rd graders.
Yeah.
But I saw the Hooked on Phonics commercials as a 3-year-old and made my mom get them for me, so I was an early reader. So my mom and I read Harry Potter when I was 6, and it was the most popular book series for the next 10 years.
It was the most popular book series. End of sentence.
It was the most popular book series for the next 10 years because then Twilight replaced it.
Okay.
But like this was a book series where like articles are being written about Harry Potter saying that it like saved reading. Like that was these were the terms that like it introduced reading to a generation that news outlets were saying this is going to be the first generation that doesn't know what a book is.
Right.
And then instead everybody read Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And so that's why everyone still likes Harry Potter, is because they were wrong, and that's just they just read those books and they didn't ever read another book in their lives.
I will say this. Here's something I've heard from a lot of some Gen Xers recently.
Yeah.
Is when people do like the backhanded thing of like, well, I guess it was good that it got people reading who wouldn't necessarily be interested in reading, but other than that, I don't think they're very good. Well, thank you.
Look, we know that those
Fuck
books
yourself.
are not without their issues,
No.
but you know, it's just silly to be like, hey, I'm 29 years old. Be like, hey, old man, when you were 5, you picked the wrong book series to start reading. Like, what a silly idea.
Okay. Now that well, actually, let's see. Let's be real. I know Twilight is having something of a small resurgence in the last year or so, but
Yeah, last couple years, yeah.
didn't do Harry Potter numbers. Come on.
I think it did. I think it really did.
It was, when those books were selling. The weird thing about Harry Potter books is they just didn't stop selling.
Right. I mean, for all the books problems and for the fact that J.K. Rowling is just an absolute monster of a person.
Yeah, I guess that's what it comes down to for me is like, I'm not like, I don't need people to dislike Harry Potter. I think it's totally fine to like Harry Potter. In a sense, I also still like Harry Potter. I just need people to be fucking quieter about it.
Yeah.
Like
It's also the thing that Harry Potter fans do is not and has never been interesting. Like the way they talk about it, it's just always been, but that's just any fandom. Like fandoms are annoying about the things that they like, and they make people who like those things uncomfortable with how passionate they are.
God, I don't like fandoms.
Yeah,
I
they're
really
the worst.
I'm
They're
sorry,
really
everybody.
bad.
It's just not my thing.
I mean, you're right. I think you're right. You wanted to talk about computers and keyboards.
Harry. I mean, yeah, we do have to.
Always a dangerous question, but how does everything sound in the chat? How does everybody finding the audio?
I was looking up the Twilight and Harry Potter book sales just because I'm like I know like Twilight was insanely popular, but like it wasn't more popular than Harry Potter, right? I feel like I would have noticed. And no, it was like Harry Potter sold like 5 times as many, but there's also 7 books. So.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of the highest selling single young adult book.
I wonder if one of those Twilight books outsold one of those Harry Potter books. That could happen.
I believe that I remember.
But the last one outsold the last.
I could have sworn that I saw something that said that Twilight overtook Harry Potter as the best-selling series. But then there was a serious it took 20-something years and J.K. Rowling being a public lunatic to change some people's minds about Harry Potter and about like being really invested in Harry Potter as a franchise. But Twilight had a quick and brutal demise, probably because it was something that girls liked.
Yeah.
So it was like,
well, it didn't have a demise. I mean, it was it had a
it had a
quick and
cultural
brutal-
demise.
It had a cultural backlash, but
Right.
I don't
Well,
think the
I don't know.
backlash was never strong enough to actually overcome its popularity.
No, but it was strong enough to like cut off the long tail of sales.
yeah, that's a good
on
point.
Twilight as a series.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also the movies were a lot worse than the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah. I mean, I read I guess I didn't even finish the first Twilight book. I read like half of Twilight and like it wasn't good.
No.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't, it's not as
I've told you my Twilight story, right?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
But my thing with Twilight was like, I mean, I didn't finish the book, right? I mean, it wasn't written for me really, but I don't want to kiss a sparkly vampire that much. Shit, what the fuck was I saying?
You read most of Twilight and it wasn't good, but
Fuck. Anyway, I guess what I mean is I read it and my takeaway wasn't like, wow, this novel's fantastic, and like all like it's not as if I don't think these were like great works of literature that were cut down. Great works of literature that were. But they whatever. They definitely received an unfair backlash, I guess.
So yeah, so one day when I was in high school, I think I was either a sophomore or a junior in high school, and my mom came home and was like, "Hey, I have this book. I don't know what it is. Someone at another teacher at my school." Like had it and isn't going to use it, or there was 2 copies, and so do you want this book? I was like, it's a long young adult book, and you are a reader who is a young adult. And I was like, okay. Literally had not heard of the series. It was the second book in the series. I read the whole thing without having read at some point I figured out that this is not the first book in a series.
Like, wow, these characters have a lot of history.
Yeah, and so it actually was kind of cool if it was how they meant it, that they sort of had these characters show up and like didn't do a lot of explaining who they were.
Right.
And so I had to do like a lot of like gleaning of who a character is through these sort of brusque introductions. And then I was like, oh, this just isn't the first book in the series.
Right.
When characters started showing up that like fully, they just like barely, they didn't even go into who these people were.
You were too busy trying to piece together who they were and what they were to the main characters.
And I never really liked it, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
It was good enough for me I finished it really fast, and I was like, when you finish a book really fast and you're like, that wasn't very good.
Literally no.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, you listen to audiobooks mostly, so there's no way to finish them faster or slower. They just are kind of on pace.
Okay, whatever. That you finish a work of fiction so fast that you get to the end and you're like, what?
Oh, you finish it quickly, but you're still like, that wasn't very good. I was like, how and why did I read that so fast if I didn't like it very much?
What I call the Chef Boyardee effect. The thing I said about Chef Boyardee was that it slides down your throat so easily you didn't realize you didn't want it until you're done eating it.
That's funny. I then only months after finishing it did the like fuck Twilight is a thing for stupid girls with no taste. Did that become sort of like really, really prevalent in culture? And I was like, oh, that was that book that I read that was not great, but was mostly fine.
Oh, because then like when people started talking about Twilight, you were like, Twilight, what's that? I've only read the book New Moon.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the backlash to Twilight was like, there was like kernels of some truth to this idea of like, oh, this is giving this is like this is giving harmful ideas to young women about relationships and sex and having children and whatever. And those aren't unfounded. But also, when you turn that around and say like, well, how many works of fiction have I consumed that were intended for males that glorified violence too much and other types of bad stuff? Tons. Heaps and piles. Like how many,
and we've talked about this a lot in the last year, but like, people's willingness to pick and choose when they criticize something because they don't like something for other reasons. And it's like, all of a sudden I'm a fucking media critic because I don't like that this book for girls is really popular.
Right. Or like all of a sudden you're mad because you were team Jacob and Bella went with Edward and you're like, fuck this whole thing. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick.
How are those headphones working for you? They're fine. They hot on your ears?
Yeah, I've been going with one ear off, though.
You put that back? I just put that where you moved it from.
But I can't get through.
You can if you move it and then move it back.
All right, listen, Keith.
What's up?
The other day, Keith and I were gonna start a live stream. Not important which one. Don't go looking for it. But as I was trying to type to Keith in the Discord, suddenly the E key on my keyboard wasn't working, and I'm like, "That's weird. What's up with that?" And as I'm typing to Keith more and more and trying to say things, suddenly less and less of the keys on my keyboard are working, and suddenly I'm on my way to Micro Center to replace that thing.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I had to go back to Micro Center because I had just bought some new RAM. Remember, my RAM was a shitty RAM, and I was like, I need to get new RAM.
Yeah.
Because I went back and watched a little of our PC simulator Snooze Button.
Yeah.
It's a good Snooze Button, by the way, if anyone...
And you saw the part where I was talking about the Ryzen's being sort of picky about RAM.
Right. Well, I had heard that recently and was like, I didn't know Ryzen's were picky about RAM, but it's in the video evidence.
Yeah.
Keith told me right away. But I went to Micro Center, got some cheap new RAM, brought it. The salesman tried to sell me some with RGB lights on it. And I was like, no thanks.
The DDR4.
Of course, it was DDR4.
It has to be.
Has to be, literally. So I brought the new RAM home, and I was like, well, I should run user benchmark just to see, so I can, before I fuck with my computer, I should see where the stats are at. And, it shows you those like curves of like, here's everyone that's benchmarked this device.
Yeah.
And like, here's where your performance compares to that one.
Right.
And all of them just have
per specific component.
Per
not
specific
just
component.
Like, here's where the average RAM is, but it's like, here is what you have for RAM, and here's where other people with that same RAM
it's like,
perform.
Here's where the typical performance of an EVGA 1060, GTX 1060 Ti, whatever. What's going on? Okay, he's messing with the mixer. It doesn't
keep
matter.
talking.
Well, I forgot what I was saying. So so when you look on the user benchmark, most parts have like a bell curve, right? It's like, most of them perform in the middle. Some are slightly below average. Some are slightly above average.
Yeah.
But the RAM had 2 peaks, and I was at the lower peak, and I was like, wait, what? And I had just heard about this, I guess, on a Linus Tech Tips video. I guess it paid off, or maybe it was something else. I don't know.
Could have been me.
But I remember something about like, some RAM or some motherboards need you to go in and manually enable the XMP 2.0 memory profile, which is a thing in your well, not BIOS, in your UEFI.
Yeah.
That makes the RAM go better.
Right.
And I didn't have that turned on.
Yep. I went through this exact same thing
I turned it on, and then I went from the lower peak to the higher peak, and then I was like, well, I guess there's no reason to, I should just get my $100 back for this new RAM I bought. Then my keyboard broke, and I was like, well, great, now I have at least $100 to spend on a keyboard. Because you know what Micro Center has, Keith?
Keyboards.
It's incredible innovation in selecting a keyboard. They have some keyboards that you can push on and say, I like this keyboard, or I don't like this keyboard.
Yeah.
And then you can buy.
Because people are really confused about
this?
switches.
It's this new concept. It's a physical store. It's like a web store that you can walk inside of.
What?
Does this make sense?
How do you search?
They have people there that you walk up to them and you say, I'm looking for RAMs, and they go, it's right over here, it's got lights on it. And then you go, I'm poorer than that, and they say, okay, this one has no lights.
Mine has no lights. I kind of regret it, actually. Everything already has. See, you get one thing with lights, and you're like, well, everything's got to have lights,
right,
or nothing's got to have lights.
Mm-hmm. I went with nothing, but I admitted it at the time on that snooze button. I was like, man, that RGB stuff was real enticing. I think next time I'm just going full Rigba.
I did a Windows reinstall, and I haven't redone my color, so it's just in stupid rainbow.
Oh, lame.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I might even go water cooled next time, just because I've never done it.
No, don't do water cooled.
Just because I've never done it.
Yeah. Do you want to know why you haven't done it? Because it's less efficient and louder than fans.
Only slightly.
Right. So it's more expensive, less efficient, and louder.
It's not less efficient.
It is less efficient. Yeah.
Keith, Linus would never have lied to me. He wouldn't lie to me. He would. He absolutely would.
He absolutely.
He's a
not
fucking
only
saint.
absolutely would he, but I also know that he has videos where they've done tests and shown this because I've seen them.
But what if the ones you saw were older than the ones that I saw? What if I saw the more recent ones? No, listen. Yeah. No,
okay, sure. If you want to get the top of the line water cool system, maybe it's more efficient.
Yeah. No, listen. You're right. Whichever one I watched it confirmed what I already knew to be true, was that you don't need water cooling. But it does seem like water cooling has caught up, or rather they have started to reach limits of like the air fan, what am I saying? Air cooling.
Because you know what water cooling systems still have?
Fans.
Fans,
yeah.
Big fans that pump water.
They can, I guess the one thing people always say is that because you can have more fans, you can have them each run, you can have 3 fans running quieter instead of 1 fan that's running at full blast, is like the idea.
Right, which is why I have 4 case fans, and I'm actually going to add, when I can, I'm going to add 2 more. So.
I've just never done it. It seems fun. Get those hoses in there.
It seems like a pain in the ass.
It
It
does.
definitely looks fun, and that's the draw. That's why you would pay more money for something that performs worse, is because it looks better.
It looks sick.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, I was Keith got into mechanical keyboards recently.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if it was recent.
Before everyone else did.
Yeah,
before it blew up.
Yeah, Keith got into it right when it was cool.
I did it in March of last year.
Not June of last year.
Not June and July and August of last year. Whenever fucking whenever Jeff Baclar got into him, I was first. I was before Jeff Baclar.
Well, I mean, you had a Razer Black Widow for years.
Oh well, sure. But I got into nicer mechanical
Yeah,
keyboards.
so Keith has what I saw the last. Well, I guess it's only been one time that I've been here.
Yes.
Before that.
2. You were here. You were here like in September.
That was in Pawtucket.
Oh, literally here. I think
Yeah.
in person. I still had this keyboard when you were
Oh,
here. That's what I'm saying.
I guess I do remember that now.
Yeah.
Anyways, Keith's new keyboard is sick as hell.
It's so good.
It's like
it's the best keyboard in the world.
It's got like silent keys. The fucking the base of the thing is like all aluminum
It's like 10 pounds of aluminum.
and also just seems to have extra weights in the bottom. It's so heavy.
No, there's no extra weight. It's just
That's
solid
just
aluminum.
aluminum.
Just aluminum. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
it's
like-
just thick aluminum.
It's rock solid. The keys are silent but sturdy.
And the
they
color.
they've got a nice click. It has a wonderful mint green color. He's got cute little, some of his extra keys. His auxiliary keys have little pictures of fruit on them.
I didn't notice. So the desk pad that I have and the key caps, it's Animal Crossing themed because it came out. This is how you know that I was in first. It was when Animal Crossing came out that they released this.
Gotcha.
I didn't realize until I was putting the keys in that I was like, oh, these are Animal Crossing.
That's funny.
Oh, the keypad is like a little island, like Animal Crossing. I didn't because at the same time as I was like, this is so cute. I want to get this. It would
Right.
match perfectly with the color of the keyboard. I also was like,
Which you accidentally got Animal Crossing colors.
not only did I accidentally get Animal Crossing colors, it's literally an Animal Crossing keycap set.
Right.
So, I mean, not branded. It's just suggesting it.
Yeah.
But I was at the same time playing and not liking Animal Crossing.
That's funny. I wondered I've never heard anyone bring this up before, but one of my annoying eccentricities is that I really dislike I don't
There's a lot of stuff that can go in this space.
we know I don't like gaming like game franchise branded stuff. Like I've got a Zelda water bottle or
Sure.
something. Like I'm not
Or
big
like
into that stuff.
like a Pokemon Game Boy.
Right, yeah. Though I did have one of those and I was pissed about it.
And I was always jealous of it.
Yeah.
I always thought I mostly agree, but for some reason that yellow Pikachu and Togepi Game Boy, I always wanted
I
one.
almost brought the like imitation one that I made.
Oh really?
Mostly I didn't because you'd probably look at it and go, "Oh, this actually isn't as good as I hoped it would be," and I'd go, "Yeah, I know." But anyways, I'm one of those people that like I could never have like Zelda is a Nintendo property. I could never have a Zelda keyboard because like Zelda's not a PC game.
Right.
It's a Switch game or what. It's like I might have a Zelda Switch. I'm never gonna have a Zelda PSP because people have those.
Right.
I mean, not anymore, obviously.
Right.
But do you have any thoughts on this?
So you don't like when it mismatches?
Yeah.
Would you have a Zelda Switch case?
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, like, it wouldn't probably be my first choice because I don't go for gaming branded stuff all that often. But I would. I have a Zelda. I have one of those, like, pleather, like, Zelda DS cases that I really like.
Yeah, I also mostly don't like branded stuff like that.
But, like, if I saw the Animal Crossing keycaps, I'd be like, I can't get these because it's not a PC game. Like, if I'm playing Animal Crossing on my PC all day,
But it's not branded.
Well, but you know what I mean.
It's just called Islands.
It's not officially branded. It's
Right.
unofficially branded.
It is just meant to suggest it to the point where, again, I was playing Animal Crossing and didn't realize it when I bought it. And then realized it when they showed up. So, you saw it. Did you notice that it was Animal Crossing?
No.
Yeah,
I mean, like I now that you say that, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Totally.
Yeah. There's a slingshot.
There's a
key.
sling. Yeah. Like, why
Yeah.
do you have a slingshot on your shift key? But also, still, now that we know it's Animal Crossing, why do you have a slingshot on your shift key? It's not like that's the slingshot button in the PC version of Animal Crossing.
It's just the one that
See,
fits.
I'm fucking sick in the head.
It's just the one that fits. It goes where it fits.
Well, yeah, because the people who made the keycap set.
but there's also it's just one that says shift in there. But I was like, I want one that has the picture on it.
Yeah.
So I could have just had the one that says shift.
No, I understand. If I had a box,
Right.
and it only had Animal Crossing keycaps in it, and I had no other choice, yes, I would have a shift key with a slingshot on it. But presumably, you could have bought any keycap set.
Right. I think you're still not understanding me. In the box with all the Animal Crossing
It came with
keys,
an alternative shift
It came.
key.
There's like 3 other alternatives, and the slingshot's the one that I picked out of the box.
What other alternatives were there?
Well, one of them is shift. One of them is just an arrow pointing up.
That's just shift.
Right. And then
One of them's an arrow pointing down.
and then actually no, my shift key is just an arrow pointing up. So you're wrong. My caps lock key is a little stick.
Yeah, I assumed you were going to correct me. I was just guessing.
Okay. I do have a slingshot, and it's my function key.
But I just, are you seeing what I'm saying? It's just like it bothers the shit out of me that there's no correlation between alt key and slingshot. Does that make sense?
The correlation is in my mind. I have correlated
What's
these
in
two.
what is it?
It is slingshot shift.
You just love a picture of a slingshot.
Right. I mean, I just go. I'm building the keyboard. I put all the letters in. All the letters are letters, and then I'm like, what fits where, and what do I want?
Right.
And when I choose to put the slingshot as the function key, is when it becomes correlated in my mind.
No.
There is nothing inherent.
I guess what I mean is, why do you like that slingshot?
Why do you like a little key that says FN?
Because that's the key that it is.
That's the key that it is. It is a slingshot key.
I just think slingshots are dumb. Maybe that's my brain's losing it.
Well, that's where you're wrong, because slingshots are cool as hell.
Slingshots are movie and television shorthand for children, so they're lame.
You can kill a man with a slingshot.
Keith, show me one story of a small person taking down a big person with a sling. I dare you.
I'm going to have a hard time with this.
So anyways, you have a great keyboard, was what we were getting at.
Right. I have a great keyboard.
You also have your keyboard is small. You have like I would have, if when I looked at it, I would guess 65%, but it's bigger than that because you still do have a 10 key on
Okay,
there.
so it's weird. It is a 40% keyboard.
What?
Yes, because there's no number row. 60 has a number row.
You have no number row.
I have no number row.
You're mad.
So it's a 40% keyboard plus a 10 key, which there's no name for because it's weird.
There's no name for that.
And if you want to look it up, it's the
and it's got arrow keys.
It's the key dot company candy bar. Again, got this before Jeff Bakalar started working with them.
This is all you care about.
Motherfucker.
Where did you hear about this?
Giant Bombcast
Oh, okay.
or Beastcast?
Oh, okay. That's over now. I don't know.
I saw that it was over. I didn't listen to the last one of them.
I don't think I did either.
Um,
See, what was funny was I was listening to like the first Nextlander podcast, and someone was like, "Oh, the Giant Beastcast. That's the greatest podcast in the universe." And Vinny goes, "Yeah, it was." And now I realize he just means because the podcast ended, but I thought he meant just like, well, now Nextlander exists, so it's obviously second place automatically.
So just a few months ago, he was talking about mechanical keyboards, and I was just getting all annoyed that everybody's into mechanical keyboards when I was already done. I already did that, and I'm done with it. And then he was talking about like doing something with the key dot company.
Come on, Keith. I have been following somebody who makes keycaps that look like hamburgers for like at least 2 years.
No, I was first.
Everyone's making those wacky keycaps.
Yeah,
now.
I actually don't like. I don't like the novelty ones very much. Every once in a while, I'll see some that are like really nice looking, but I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want like a Blastoise sticking out where my escape key is supposed to be. So I got it used because they're expensive. Someone was like, I got this and I didn't like it, so I'm selling it. And there's like a little mark on the anodization on the inside, and so it was discounted, and I was like,
wow,
okay. So I picked that. So anyway, candy bar. That's the name of the thing. If you want to look it up, it is a 40% sized keyboard. So that means there's no 10 key, there's no number row, there's no function row, there's no arrow keys, but it actually does have a 10 key, which is that's the number pad, on the left side instead of the right side. So it's a 40%.
You wanted it that way?
Yes. I could have set it up the other way, I think.
Right.
No,
and
I couldn't.
And you have arrow keys under that, but
I have chosen to put those, to make those arrow keys. Yeah.
Gotcha. But they're not. Unfortunately, they don't have that T shape.
No.
3 on the bottom, and then the top one is off one to the right.
Yes, I find it to generally not be an issue.
Yeah. So, I poked around at the keyboards in the Micro Center.
Mm-hmm.
I walked up and down that keyboard aisle a lot, and I looked at all the ones that they had.
Yeah. And you said, these do not satisfy me.
No, I did. I was like, I'm buying one of these. Well, because the other thing was, I really want to get a keyboard like yours. But first of all,
it's expensive.
Yeah, I guess first of all, it's really expensive. You spent how much, Keith?
Like $400.
Like $400.
Right.
Sorry, Isaac.
No, it's fine. It's not.
And
I can justify that, but continue.
I mean, I know that that's what these things cost because
Right.
I looked into it. You helped me look into these. You showed me like the fucking, if you can get onto Taobao,
right?
if you can figure out how to log into Taobao, and I did.
Right.
You can buy this.
Really nice one that's like a knockoff.
Yeah, it's like the people that produce. They have the machines that produce the really expensive keyboards that other people come in on weekends or whatever and make knockoffs that are a tenth of the price and blah blah blah. But, it's one of those things, like, this is like, you gotta, the Taobao thing is going to take however many weeks to come in or something.
Yeah.
And the keycaps, it's like, or the switches, a lot of these mechanical switches, you're having to do, it's group buys months ahead of time.
Right.
And
well, this is where what you need to do for keycaps, for switches, is there's some that are kind of always in stock. There's some good ones that are kind of always in stock. But then if you want some of the ones that are not always in stock, you've got to go onto the mechanical keyboard Reddit mech market and get them used. And sometimes not really used. Usually they don't really use them. They just buy them and then go like, I don't really like these. They sell them. They're like, oh, I was gonna put these in the keyboard,
and then
I'm just a lunatic with 8,000 switches. So I'm actually just selling these to buy different switches that I want.
And that was like the other thing is like, if I'm gonna start buying keycaps, I might buy 5 sets of keycaps like a fucking idiot, because I'm gonna go like, I want this wacky set of keycaps and I want this one and that one, and I just wasn't willing to. I wasn't willing to pay the price or wait the time. Yeah. So I was just like, hey, guess what? These fucking Razer keyboards totally feel fine. What
switches you got in there?
So I ended up picking a Razer Huntsman Mini. Which,
those are nice. I almost got one of those.
I like it a lot. I got a white one. It looks sick as hell.
Yeah.
Mine is a 60% keyboard, so there's no function row, no number pad, and no arrow keys, and that's pretty much all it's missing. Well, it's also missing those 6 keys, like page up, page down, and home and print screen. Oh, there's 9 of them. God. But they're all functioned into other keys on the keyboard. I do have my arrow keys are IJKL if I'm holding function. I really wanted a 65%, which is a 60%, but with arrow keys, basically.
Right. With arrow keys and with some of the navigation keys.
Sure.
Sometimes 3, sometimes all 6, sometimes 2.
Yeah, but they just didn't have like.
What are the switches though that are in there?
So the switches gave me the most pause.
This is why I think there's 2 main reasons why you'd build your own keyboard. And the first one is if you're dissatisfied with off-the-shelf switches, And the second one is if you want to do a crazy keycap set and you don't want to just replace the thing on, like, you go, I want a crazy keycap set, but I want to do all the other steps too for some reason.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's just you want to build your own thing.
Yeah.
It's one of those. There's no reason to do it unless you just really want to.
Yeah.
So what yeah, I think it was like they had a Huntsman slightly bigger. There's 3 like sizes of Huntsmans or whatever, and it was like, you know, the next one up only came in black, and it had arrow keys, but also had a function row. And I was like, bleh.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So, I tried out all the switches in there, and they have Razer optical purple switches, which are,
those are confusing, but they are pretty cool.
yeah. So I got the clicky ones. I thought I wasn't gonna get clicky ones, but then I don't know. I was like I was feeling these clicks and hearing these clicks. I'm like, it's pretty nice. If I, like my PC thing where I was like, no lights.
So the optical switches. So the way that a switch works, for people that don't know, is you've got a spring, and you've got a spring in a switch that completes a circuit when you pass a certain threshold of the press. And when you complete that circuit, it sends a signal to the PCB that the thing is soldered into, and that's what a keystroke is. Mm-hmm. The optical ones, instead of completing a circuit, it passes a light.
It's basically like, what if every key on the keyboard
was a fiber optic?
Had an optical mouse in it.
Right, yes, yeah.
So this thing was $120, which is, compared to yours, a steal.
Right. But then this is why I was able to justify this keyboard to myself, because I was like, I'm going to be the keyboards I was looking at were like $160 off the shelf anyway. Mm-hmm. And I was like, if I'm going to get these and like not have the right kind of size that I want and not have the right kind of thing that I'm looking for. And also at the time, all of the keyboards were out of stock because it was the beginning of COVID.
Sure. Yeah.
And so like they were just having a lot of supply chain issues. And so I was like, the one that I want seems to be not out of stock. Like they stopped making it. I was like, I decided I really wanted this keyboard, and then they were like, no, discontinued or something. And so I was like looking for something that was as close as possible to that. At the time, it was a 60% keyboard with 2 navigation buttons, and it had navigation. I decided that I really didn't like when the arrow keys touch the rest of the other keys. I want there to be space in between the arrow key. And eventually I was like, I guess I don't fucking need arrow keys. I eventually went back on this because I fell in love with the idea of the left aligned number pad.
Oh, okay.
Because the thing that you want are really small keyboards. Like, why would you ever have a small keyboard? What does that do for you? Well, it has given me a huge amount of more desk space.
Yeah.
My old keyboard was enormous.
Same.
I did not have enough space for my mouse. Like, I didn't have enough space to move my mouse around, even though I have this huge desk. And so getting a smaller keyboard gave me a ton of more room on my desk.
Yeah. Oh, and my previous keyboard was, you were scandalized when I said this, that my previous keyboard was a Logitech G15 gaming keyboard that I used for 12 years. It was a rubber membrane keyboard. It did have illuminated keys that were double shot, which just means the letters don't rub off.
Right.
And it had the flashy feature that I bought it for was that it had a 1-bit LCD screen on it that lit up orange, and it would show you like, here's your current CPU temp or memory usage, or here's your health and mana in World of Warcraft or something. And of course I was playing Warcraft at the time, and I was like, that sounds awesome. I'd love to always have that. It turns out, Keith, you know where you don't look when you're playing a PC game?
Keyboard.
The keyboard.
Right, and you know where the health, useless. You know where your health and mana already is.
It's on the screen. And like, yeah, it could show me my temp or load or RAM or whatever, but it turns out you actually don't care about any of those things if your PC's working fine, which my PC usually is. So it got like the last 5 or more years, I just didn't even install the drivers for the thing. Like, it was just an orange rectangle with nothing on it. It would say G15 when I turned my PC on, and that was it. And the keys took a lot of force to push. It was the thing that was the hardest to get used to about the keyboard. Though I assume over 12 years of pushing all those motherfuckers that they just got worn out over time. So I got a keyboard with like what I liked about the Huntsman Mini and these optical switches they had was like very light amount of pressure needed to actuate them. Not like lighter. It's within the normal deviations of key pressure, whatever the fuck.
It was nice to press instead of shitty to press.
It was
like
nice
the
to
rubber
press
domes.
instead of shitty to press. Yeah. And I liked that when I was I thought I wanted a linear switch with no click, but when I was in the store, I was like, because I just remember your old Razer, I assume had Razer greens in them, and they're
Blues.
the loudest.
It was before the greens even existed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it had cherry blues.
It had cherry switches in there. Well, they were loud they were obnoxiously loud.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't want that. In fact, if they had done the Huntsman Mini in Razer yellows, I would have gotten that, which is just like purple but quieter. Like I think they're meant to be silent, but they're still tactile, so you still hear a click when you push it.
Right.
Funny though, I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, now I'm living, I'm living in this apartment. I have my own room and everything, so no one's ever really near me. I'm not trying to be quiet. I have no noise issues. It's not like I'm going to wake someone with my keyboard, so if it's a little loud, that's fine. Not 3 days later, my daughter's sleeping on my bed 4 feet from my keyboard, and I'm like, clack, 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 clack. Totally forgot every time my daughter visits me, she sleeps next to my keyboard, but she's a heavy sleeper. It was fine. It's got RGBs, Yeah. It's got all them swirly. It's got the rainbow thing. You were talking about like, you haven't changed your case so the lights are still rainbow. The thing I found is just like the very first default rainbow effect that they put on the keyboard looks so nice. It's like, why even change it?
I don't like a lot of the fancy effects that keyboards have these days. Like I don't like the waves of light where it goes, and I also don't like when you press and there's like a ripple coming out. I don't like those.
I think the ripple thing is fun. Like I turned it on for my daughter and she had a total blast.
Right.
It's distracting if anything else. I like all gamers, Keith, I've dreamed for years of having a keyboard that would differentiate the W, A, S, and D keys from the rest of the keyboard. Now I can realize that dream by lighting them up white. So when I'm gaming, I light the WASD up white, and then the rest of the keyboard is like a color wheel that's constantly rotating, but the wheel is centered underneath the WASD keys. So it's this effect where like the left half of the keyboard always has like all the rainbow colors, and the rest of the keyboard looks like it's cycling through solid colors, if that makes sense. It's a nice little effect. Okay. I like it. Anyways, I love my keyboard. It's
great.
Cool. I was concerned about the optical thing because Razer definitely wants you to think that they're way better than mechanical switches. Maybe they are. I was hesitant because I had a feeling, because I know how expensive the good mechanical keyboards are. And I'm looking at this thing and going, what a world we live in where it's cheaper to put 65 optical mice in a keyboard than to just make a keyboard. But apparently,
well, the switches are not that. I mean,
to hear Razer tell it, a typical mechanical keyboard switch actually has 8 milliseconds of delay between actuation and registering the key press, and supposedly because there's some kind of, they call it a debounce delay. Which
you saying 8 milliseconds?
That's what they said?
That's bullshit.
It sounds bullshit. It sounds very long.
Yeah. It's maybe 0.8 milliseconds.
Wow. That's what Razer says. They claim typical mechanical switch has 8 milliseconds of delay, and their optical ones only has 2. That's what they say.
If you wanted to say 0.8 and 0.2, I would believe you.
Maybe it was 0.8 and 0.2.
But that's not. That's like at that point you're like, who 0.8? Who gives a shit?
Who does give a shit?
Because I feel like I can see 8 milliseconds easy.
You can see 8 milliseconds? I don't think you can see 8 milliseconds.
No,
because my My touchstone for audio-visual delay is thinking about Guitar Hero and Rock Band, because those are always the things that made me engage with those the most. And I remember like most LCDs have like 30 milliseconds of delay, and that never really feels like delay. Like I don't feel a ton of delay when I'm playing on a screen with 30 milliseconds of delay.
Here's the other thing, is that the actuation distance and the finishing your keystroke distance is different.
Yeah.
So like by the time you finished your keystroke, whether it's 8 or 2 milliseconds or 0.8 or 0.2, like it takes the rest of that time just to finish hitting the key anyway. And so once you've pressed and depressed the key, that time is up no matter what.
Yeah. Well,
That's what I think.
yeah.
I guess it's better, if it's true, it's better for gaming where when the actuation.
Well, Keith, you know that in gaming, every frame counts.
Right.
Some shit they'll say on Linus Tech Tips all the time.
You've been watching a lot of tech videos.
I have, but I need to pee again. Sorry.
It's okay. It's not like when we do it remotely and you can pretend to pee without me knowing. You act like you can do that.
Well, I also can't keep hearing you either.
Yeah.
I'm back. Certainly, I think we need to get to that game.
I kind of was thinking, do we need a game? Maybe this was just a live podcast today.
Oh my gosh, wow. Oh, but last thing about the keyboard that I will say, because I was, tapping on your keyboard earlier. The one I got, it's got an edgeless base, by the way, which I like. I bet it bothers some people.
I don't like it. I like an edge.
I like it. I
like bezels. Bring back the bezel.
It goes extra good with the RGB because it's white and it has no edge, so it's like the whole bottom underneath the keycaps is like light show screen.
Yeah.
For the keyboard, but it feels sturdy, and the keys. But I'm not gonna lie, it's not as sturdy or as sound as this beast.
Hard to
over
be
here.
that sturdy.
You push those keys, you feel the extra $300 that got spent on that thing. I'm not gonna lie, but I still love my keyboard. And my favorite thing about my keyboard purchase was that I was just in the store and I bought it. Done.
Yeah.
I didn't have to search online. I didn't have to wait extra months. I could just go buy the keyboard, and that was good for me.
Yeah. I used a broken keyboard for a month while I waited for all this stuff to come in.
Fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough. But
when I'm deciding, sorry, I interrupted you.
No.
When I was deciding, what form factor to go with, I'm like, I really want those arrow keys, but I start like talking myself down, like, there's no reason. You don't need the arrow keys. They don't do anything. You'll be fine. And I get home, plug the keyboard in, and immediately go to wake up my PC and realize I wake up my PC with the arrow keys. Like I suddenly realize like, I am constantly using my arrow keys and just never noticing.
Yeah.
And so like, oh shit, this is a big change now, actually.
Yeah. I use my arrow keys all the time to navigate text.
Yeah, I didn't realize like I use the arrow keys for the cursor to move the cursor back and forth. I sometimes scroll web pages with the arrow keys. I didn't even realize on World of Warcraft, you run with the WASD keys But you can also run with the arrow keys, and I've just naturally gotten into like just sometimes if I need to, I just reach over and hit the arrow keys for whatever weird reason. And like I keep, it's like you don't realize how much you use the arrow keys, or at least I didn't, until suddenly they're not there, and I keep reaching for them, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Pave Paradise put up a parking lot.
I still, what does that mean exactly?
It's a Joni Mitchell song famously covered by the Counting Crows.
Right.
You don't know what you got till it's gone. That was the joke, is that you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Wait.
The arrow keys. You don't know what you got till it's gone. Pave Paradise put up a parking lot. It's called Big Yellow Taxi is the name of this. Do you not know this song?
No, of course I know the song.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, you're translating Pave Paradise and put up a parking lot as you don't know what you got till it's gone.
That is the lyric. Pave Paradise put up a parking lot. Immediately preceding that, they sing, "You don't know what you got till it's gone."
Okay, gotcha.
And then the they say the literal phrase, "You don't know until you got till it's gone." Mm-hmm. They pave paradise. Paradise is gone.
Yeah.
And they put up you didn't realize there was paradise there until now it's a parking lot.
Now it's a parking lot.
Right.
Yeah.
You were supposed to get that right away. Or I wouldn't have said it.
No, I mean, I did.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't. Listen, I wish that I was smoother.
Famously covered by your favorite band, the Counting Crows.
First of all, because they're my favorite band, I know that they are just Counting Crows, not the Counting Crows. Second of all, they're not my favorite band. Third of all, Long December slaps. Fourth of all, they sung that song?
It's a Joni Mitchell song covered by Counting Crows.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in several movies. I feel like it was everywhere from like 2004 to 2009.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
Nobody is
talking to Counting Crows right now.
What? Nobody's talking to Counting Crows right now?
Nobody's knocking the Counting Crows.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no. Listen. I defy someone to tell me that when they hear Mr. Jones come on, they get less happy instead of more happy. You're a fucking liar.
I don't particularly like Counting Crows, but
this is I don't even know. Like, I don't think I even know more than Long December, Mr. Jones. I just had a third one and it left. Shit. The Hanging Around This Town song.
Okay, yeah.
They've been hanging around this town on the corner for so long.
Yeah.
And that other one. That's the 4.
Yeah.
I don't think I know any other ones. Anytime I think about Counting Crows, all I can think about was one time when I learned that my high school had like an unofficial zine that it was made by high school students, passed out at high school, not sanctioned by the high school, because it had swear words in it and whatever, and it was called Whatever the Fuck You Want, and my girlfriend got a copy and wouldn't let me read it. My girlfriend got a copy because something she had wrote anonymously was published in it, but wouldn't let me read it because she was afraid I would ruin it, and also wouldn't tell me what she wrote. So instead, I just had to get my own copy and read it, and someone wrote a really terrible story about like going to hell and seeing hell, but hell's all frozen over and Hitler's making a snowman, and their guide was the lead singer of Counting Crows. And I just can't ever stop thinking about that. And I don't really know what the point of the story was, but there was someone at my high school. Is this what
your girlfriend wrote?
I don't know.
Because it was anonymous.
Because it was anonymous.
So this could have been.
I would like to think they were a little bit less lame than this. They didn't like Counting Crows. There you go. If she was always talking about Counting Crows, I think I would have known.
Right.
But I just can never forget that one person who must have just been so into Counting Crows. They're like, this person is like my shepherd through spiritual life. Like, if only I could have Counting Crows guide to guide me.
Hey, every band is somebody's favorite band. Even
Tofog.
Even Tofog.
Even Tofog.
That's so funny that someone's favorite band is Tofog. And I would love, I love imagining like you've got you and your buddies listening to Tofog like you always do, and you listen to 4 songs in a row. You're just you're just chilling to Tofog, and you look at your friend and you go, and he can act.
Well, I was gonna say you're blissing out with your bro. You're both enjoying the Tofog until you start getting into an argument about which is the superior Tofog, 30-odd foot of grunt,
and
or
then you
the
find
ordinary
yourself,
fear of God.
And then you find yourself listing all of your favorite Tofog albums, essentially Counting Crow.
And we nailed it. Hit the outro music right now. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this audio-only episode of Snooze Button. You'll never know how bad that Xbox... you'll never even know what the end of that sentence was. Keith's real upset about the thing that he said. Thank you, bye. Presumably we'll have some short break. I don't think we need that long of a break. Keith, what do you think?
No.
Keith says no. Keith is still sad.
Yeah.
Was that the one that had the iced tea in it?
Yeah.
Did you spill iced tea too?
No, we were done with the iced tea.
Okay.
Be careful over here. Maybe don't step over here.
Yeah, I won't. All right, so
Cut myself.
oh no, Keith cut himself on the top of his foot.
It landed on my foot.
It landed on your foot.
Yeah. It broke into pretty big chunks, but it's itchy. Maybe I'll get the vacuum.
Okay, just to reiterate, we are going to be doing a recording session for patrons soon, which means the stream will probably go down soon, and then we'll post a link on the Patreon page for the new stream. And I
tell them
believe,
where they can go.
yeah, I told them where they can go. You can go to contentburger.biz. That's our URL. That'll take you straight to patreon.com/runbutton. I guess our recording live streams are available to level 2 and up patrons. And I think we're doing Digimon World next.
Not level 1? No, it is level 2. You're
2.
right. Okay.
I'd like to make it level 1, maybe, but
Maybe that's why I'm remembering
that's
it.
a decision for another day.
All right, hey, can you close the stream so I can turn on this vacuum or at least mute the mic?
Keith needs to turn on vacuum. We're doing Digimon World next.
Oh, okay.
Is that good?
Yeah.
We're doing Digimon World next, so come.
Maybe we should do Shenmue next.
No, we shouldn't do Shenmue next. We should do Digimon next. Because we just put out a new Shenmue episode. And it's been a year since we did Digimon, and we keep saying we're going to do it, and then we don't do it.
Well, that's a good reason to then, it's been so long, why not put it off? I just feel like we have a good energy for Shenmue.
You don't think we're going to run head first into that fucking Shenmue wall?
No, I think we're going to, because I got all the money that we need.
No, but listen. Shenmue's going to sap all my energy, and then I'm going to have nothing left for Digimon. I'm going to be giving Digimon garbage.
Maybe, but I just feel like it'll be an easy Shenmue record because we know where we're going. We know that we've got to win 3 fights, and we have all the money that we need to do it.
I'm sorry, folks. I tried to give us Digimon World before Shenmue. Keith is insisting on doing Shenmue first, which of course means that we will just do Digimon afterwards. But you and I both know it could be 4 to 5 more years until that happens.
No, we'll definitely do both.
We'll do both.
Yeah.
You can turn on the vacuum. Vacuum go. You only have one shift key? Are you mad?
No, I'm not mad.
Oh god. You shift the number pad for an exclamation mark. You are mad.
No, you don't have to do that. You can press, Shift Tab 1. Shift Tab 1 is exclamation point.
You mean Shift Tab Q?
No, sorry. Shift Tab Z.
Oh, like that.
Yeah. Or really Tab Shift Z. What you up to?
I was trying to put text on the screen that's like, go to content burger. Oh, this is the alert box. This is the thing you don't want on the screen. Can we just drag this over? Boom, it's gone.
Well, no, because it's there because stop messing with my scenes.
It isn't trying to. It's an accident.
The thing that we use the alert box for is it also says when we get like a patron or like a direct donation, and I do want those to pop up. It's just that for some reason it won't let me stop having the zombie when someone subscribes to Twitch, which I don't even want a notification for. It like won't let me turn it off. I think I should need to reinstall it.
Keith,
Yeah.
I added a text source. It says it's on the top of the sources, and it's visible, but I don't visit. Where is it?
When
I click on it down here, it does this.
right click it, right click the thing, and press transform center.
Ah.
So now it looks like it's really small. Hit it again. Maybe hit like stretch to fit.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it looks like it's just really small.
Oh, stretch.
Either one. What the fuck? I don't know. I think you did it wrong.
I guess I did it wrong.
It sounds like it's been so long that it's not worth doing anymore.
What did you do, bud? Well, anyways, folks, I'm off to start the next live stream. So go to patreon.com/runbutton, contentburger.biz. You'll get the next URL.
Earl. Can you get out of my chair?
Yeah. I don't know. I never know what's happening at this chair.
Hey, did you drop my headphones into the ground?
As I got up.
Okay. Carol, these are more expensive than my keyboard.
Jesus Christ. No. I don't want that. Did you play any Pokemon Red?
No.
Bummer.
I went to it, but the batteries in my thing died, and I replaced them, but then I was done playing.
Checks out.
Yeah.
Are you gonna stick with the Mew?
I am going to stick with the Mew.
Cool.
Because I don't care about doing it fair. Because Pokemon Red, I played it a million times.
Also, now you have a Mew without needing a Game Shark.
Yeah. Did it not? You used a